Welcome to the Hustle Story. Meet Haydn Flores, a fearless entrepreneur who's flipped houses, launched a drone photography business, and sold millions in solar panels.
Every client that we have is always shocked at the amount of work, time, energy.
From knocking doors in Boston's snowy winters to leading a team of 65 as a solar sales director, Haydn's journey is a masterclass in perseverance. Now, as an advisor at Viking Mergers and Acquisitions, he empowers business owners to build sellable companies and secure their futures. So ask yourself, what's your business really worth? Let Haydn Flores show you.
I grew up with my mom just starting little side hustle after side hustle, whether it was painting tire swings and selling them to her friends and family, or the fact that my grandfather busted his butt day in day out in the corporate life and just got beat down, whether it was from bosses or just circumstances out of his control. And I saw what not having your control in your own hands does, and I said, I'm going to be in control of my fate. Between me and God, we'll make it happen.
The people around him weren't happy, and he realized he was headed down the same road he always promised to avoid. But the moment he walked into that office, he saw it. This wasn't the life he wanted.
Coming out of college, I was a licensed financial advisor. I studied international studies, economics, and then got my financial advising licenses. And when I would go to that financial advising office, I looked around and no one really seemed happy. Now, more power to them, right? It just wasn't for me. And they weren't in a position that I would want to be in down the road, whether it was that office, maybe not the industry as a whole. But I fell in love with my senior year thesis, which was the inefficiencies of food production and vertical farming as a potential solution. So I thought I was going to graduate college, start my first business, save the world, feed the world, and that really didn't pay the bills, right? At 21 years old, I was not equipped to change a major world industry. So from there, I was already in entrepreneurship. I loved the freedom and the responsibility that everything was on my shoulders, and I didn't have someone else to blame. Yeah, I'll never forget the day. It was June 27, 2017, when we got an email that the company had imploded on itself. The leadership team was doing some unethical things with their finances. I left my wife and I holding a bag. It was my first major multiple five-figure business lesson. And I felt that, it was because I didn't have the control in my hands again. The good news from that is in that season, my wife and I got infinitely closer. And what was next was starting our own solar company. So it was a door knocking model, right? So we hit the pavement. We did what we were good at, what we knew how to do. So we went out and knocked doors. Usually you have to knock 100 doors to talk to 30 people. To talk to 30 people, you're going to set at least 3 appointments. You set 3 appointments, you're going to sit down with 2 people. If you sit down with 2 people, you're going to get 1 sale. Usually 100 doors per sale. In the first 6 months, we sold multiple million of dollars in solar panels. And then that 6-month mark was COVID.
He carried the weight on his own shoulders. There was no one else to blame. It was survival mode. They hit the pavement, knocked doors, and closed millions in sales within 6 months until COVID hit.
Knocking doors during COVID is not a sustainable model, especially not in Chicago. But with multiple millions in sales, multiple reps, good reviews, and a good brand that was built, good reputation, we thought, maybe we can sell this business. Thankfully, an old personal connection of mine owns Viking Mergers and Acquisitions, and we went to go sell that business. Unfortunately, because performance had declined and our model was not sustainable during COVID, we hadn't built a sustainable asset, right? That's my why behind what I do at Viking is I built a business that wasn't able to be sold, even though I put the blood, sweat, and tears in order to make it happen. I did what it took to make money from it, but it wasn't sellable. So now with Viking Mergers and Acquisitions, I get to coach people on how to build their businesses in a sustainable way. We tell you what your business is worth today, and we help coach and consult and give advice on how to grow that company to a point where you can exit. Now, I didn't sell my company. However, thankfully, 2 major CEOs and CFO from past lives had bought into Viking, and they needed an associate to bring under their wing. And so I took my first W-2 role with Viking about 3 years ago. Now I'm out from under their wings and their colleagues, not bosses, and I'm an advisor with Viking, hopefully soon to be partner, running my own book of business, helping my own clients and sourcing my own deals.
He joined Viking with the help of 2 experienced CEOs, and today he stands on his own, advising his own clients. What sets his team apart is real experience. About 70% of their buyers are former business owners.
things that we do best in our advising practice in mergers and acquisitions is that 70% of our buyers have been past business owners. So we can empathize with those business owners, which is one of our core values, being empathy. We know what it takes to get a business off the ground, to go through the trials, to persevere, to try and make payroll, to just get beat up for things out of your control. So we bring that empathy to our practice so we can really understand what business owners are going through and why being stuck in the day-to-day is so common. We just like to give an outside perspective of how they could maybe work on the business, not in the business, and whether, we provide high-level coaching and consulting on how to grow a business for an eventual exit, but then our network throughout Charlotte and the Southeast is just massive. So we can put you in touch with the right people to truly put systems and procedures in place to make your business more sellable in the future.
He helps business owners step back from the grind and build businesses that can grow and sell. With strong connections across Charlotte and the Southeast, he brings the right people and systems together. It all starts with a free valuation, showing owners what their business is worth and where it can go next.
So when I first meet a business owner, we love just giving free valuations, right? That's putting a stake in the ground that Mr. and Mrs. Business Owner, here's what your business is worth today in the eyes of a buyer and a bank. That process of evaluation is done with a three-prong approach. It's going to be a cash flow analysis. We're going to analyze comparable sales, businesses similar to yours of your size and area, what those multiples are, and then just industry standards, right? That's from the gurus in the industry nationwide as to what the multiples are on cash flow, revenue, things like that. So that's a three-pronged weighted approach to come up with the valuation. After that valuation, let's say number is where they need it to be in order to exit and feel comfortable either retiring or moving on to the next chapter. We'll get a listing agreement and documentation in place so that we can represent them.
Once the valuation makes sense and they're ready, the next step is paperwork to make the partnership official. Then comes onboarding, digging deep through focused meetings to fully understand their business.
What that looks like is onboarding them. So we're going to do multiple meetings, multiple hours, and learn everything there is to know about your business, A through Z. We want to become the second most knowledgeable people about your business next to you so that we can intelligently talk about it to potential buyers. Once we know everything there is to know about the business, gather all the data and reports, we're going to put it together in what's called a confidential information memorandum, a CIM. It's a large business profile. It's going to answer all of the FAQs a buyer may have about your business.
Once all the information is gathered, they create a detailed confidential information memorandum, SIM, to answer key buyer questions. Then the search for the right buyer begins.
Once that profile is complete, we condense it into a one-page teaser that's confidential and doesn't share any confidential information about your business. That one-page teaser is what we're going to blast to our network of tens of thousands of buyers that have reached out to our company about similar businesses. So we go outbound with that one-page teaser just to cast nets and see who might be interested. Once we get a couple nibbles on that bait, we're going to have some introductory calls, make sure that they're not sensitive parties, right? Competitors or customers or anyone that could harm your business if they found out it's for sale. So confidentiality is one of our top priorities. Once we vet those potential buyers and you approve us to engage them, that's when we're going to share that 40 to 60 page SIM, that profile that shares everything about the business. That's going to really let buyers know if a business is for them or not. They see those profiles. If it's a no, that's fine. We'll move on to the next. For those ones that want to learn more, we're going to have a management meeting, which is a meeting between those potential buyers and our clients, the sellers. We like to keep it to 5 to 10 of those meetings, and those are mutual interviews. That's as much of a buyer interviewing the seller to see if they want to buy their company as it is a seller interviewing that buyer to see if they're a good fit. And then after that management meeting, there's some follow-up questions, but really it's an LOI phase, a letter of intent. And that's where a buyer makes an offer on the business. It's going to include purchase price, a structure. Us as advisors at Viking, we're going to help you analyze those offers, apples to apples, so you really know what you're getting and what to expect. We're going to try and tackle a lot of the sensitive topics and key points up front in that LOI phase before we get into due diligence.
Once the SIM is shared, serious buyers dive in to see if the business is the right fit. From there, it's about management meetings, follow-ups, and finally moving toward the letter of intent, where real offers come to the table.
Now, once an offer is signed both ways, we move into due diligence, which is typically a 60 to 90 day process. The first 30 days, the seller is going to be providing a whole host of information that a buyer requested. The buyer analyzes that information either with an accounting firm or a due diligence team. Meanwhile, in that first 30 days, the buyer's trying to secure financing and get commitment letters from the bank. Once they get that commitment letter and they sign off on that due diligence, we move to the next 30 days, which is typically the legal side of things. Typically 6 to 8 months on average by the time money's deposited into their account, and that's when we get paid as upon closing. The next day, we're cracking a bottle of champagne and going to celebrate.
After management meetings, real offers come in through a letter of intent. He then breaks down each offer side by side, helping the seller fully understand them before moving into due diligence.
So right now, I think the secret's out with private equity and mergers and acquisitions. It used to be real estate was the only way to build generational wealth. Well, now it's buying and selling businesses. So the same with real estate, you buy, you repair, you rent, or you flip. Businesses are the same way, right? You can buy a business, renovate it, as in put in systems in place that it didn't already have, grow the business, and then either hire a manager and let it be passive, which would be the rent it out, or you sell it for a profit and you take those profits and you reinvest them. So the secret's out with M&A, and so right now we have more buyers than we know what to do with. Last month, I think we had 1,300. The month before that, we had over 1,500 buyers that reached out to us to buy our 70 businesses for sale. Last year, we did right around 460 valuations. That brought us to 62 engagements, and we sold 53 of those engagements. So right around an 86% success rate. The national average is about 25, a little under that, 25% or so of businesses actually get sold. So we have a pretty high success rate and are good at what we do. The amount of work, time, energy, and just headache that goes into actually selling a business, even with professional representation. To restart that process is just causes fatigue. It's a weight on those sellers' shoulders that we like to avoid at all costs, but sometimes things are just out of our control, and deals fall through. So when we have to reset those deals and really just be honestly a friend, a therapist, a psychologist to those sellers and our clients, to manage their emotions and say, you know what, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you've given it your all for the past 2 months. Let's just take a break. We know we get paid on closing, but you're not in the right space to pick this up again just yet. Let's take some breathing room. Let's finish the month. Let's see how the financial performance is this month. Let's revamp the marketing materials, and let's go back out to market and find you a new and better buyer, and let's do it even better, the true buyer. I think everything happens.
Seller fatigue is real. Selling takes time and energy. When deals fall through, he supports sellers as both advisor and friend. It's a seller's market, but he focuses on long-term relationships, waiting until they're truly ready.
So there's definitely ups and downs in the market, right? Interest rates can affect valuations or how many buyers are in the market. Right now, it really is a seller's market. There's so many buyers out there, but sellers don't always want to sell their business, right? It's the largest transaction probably of their life, and it's their one largest asset most of the time. So we really like to foster those relationships for years before they're ready to sell. We try and coach people that you sell your business when you can sell your business, not when you have to sell your business.
He helps people sell their business when they're ready. His sales and entrepreneurship background taught him grit and relationship building. Selling is tough and unpredictable, so he advises staying steady, skilled, and trusting the process.
My past entrepreneurship experience that best equipped me to get into mergers and acquisitions would have been my solar experience. Starting as or getting told no 100 times a day, going through the grittiness and the perseverance. The hardest door to knock, to go out of was my car door, right? Getting out of the car and going to knock that first door was nerve-wracking day after day, even though I did it for over 3 years. But just getting told no, learning how to read people, communicate, develop rapport within seconds, to quickly just disarm a homeowner and a potential customer to trust me, and just being authentic and genuine and there to serve and add value, and letting that authenticity just come through to again just gain trust and build relationships as quick as I could. It's that relationship building and the sales skills, the communication, and just a love for people was really fine-tuned during that door knocking experience. But then when I transitioned to running my own company, it was building partnerships with dozens of installers and financiers, maintaining those relationships and managing contractors, which if anyone has managed contractors, can be difficult. And sometimes you want to scream at them, but at the end of the day, the harsher you are on them, the worse they may treat you or take care of you in the future. So putting ego aside to maintain relationships was a main lesson that came from solar. In solar sales, it was a multi-month process from the time we sold the system to the time it got installed. and solar was very seasonal as well. You have great weeks, great months, down weeks, down months, and that emotional roller coaster took a long time to get used to, and it's absolutely not for everyone. And neither is entrepreneurship, and neither is mergers and acquisitions. You could have a $10 million deal on the table that you're over the moon excited about, and you could get a call from the buyer on the dime's notice that something changed and that deal's off, and you can't get emotionally attached to the outcomes. You just have to be a master of your craft and stay steadfast and just keep persevering, trust the process and God's timing.
His journey taught him perseverance, relationship building, and handling business ups and downs, lessons he now uses to guide owners in today's market.
Right now, there's a massive opportunity for lower middle market business owners, right? The $1 million to $100 million business owners. It's a seller's market. There are so many buyers out there. But right now, the opportunity is to either sell completely or just take chips off the table, secure your retirement, sell the majority of your company, put some cash aside to retire, to make sure your kids and your family is taken care of, and then leave some skin in the game with the buyer and let that buyer grow the company on their dime, on their skill set, on their connections.
He sees a big opportunity for lower middle market owners to cash out or secure their future by selling most of their company while staying involved. His top advice for starters: go all in. Success comes from focus and relentless effort.
If I had one piece of advice for aspiring entrepreneurs, it would be to go all in. If something is pulling you, if you have a vision, you have a skill set that could better the lives of others and add value, then you have to go all in. The man who chases 2 rabbits catches 0. You have to find one rabbit and chase that rabbit wholeheartedly and go all in on whatever it is that you want to do. At the end of the day, something is either for you or it will lead you to what is for you. But you just have to commit, go all in, and say, this is going to be hard, but I'm going to make it happen.